Make a buddy, you're a boy, make a buddy, you're a boy, make a buddy, you're a boy now.
So here they come to sell them again. 9 straight night, 20 straight night, even straight here. Now guys, 8 halves are trading as well.
What's going on, guys? So I'm going to do my weekly equity review where I chart the equity indexes, the large caps, and then a list I call movers, which is just things either I've been trading or watching. And then at that time, when I chart the movers, I'll take requests, and if any of you guys want me to chart something of yours, yeah, just put it in the chat and I'll take a look at it. So here we've got AMC, and I'll switch this over to SPY. And then also going to look at another chart here today. Hope everybody can hear me okay. Let's see. Let's make sure that I didn't check anything today. So there's a chance that it is quiet. Let's see. Shouldn't be. Yeah, it should be just fine. Let's see. Really should check this out. Monitor and output. Monitor off. Let's see. Mute output. Okay, yeah, we're good. Should be good. If not, I apologize. Okay, let's put this on a 30-minute. So this we have here here on the right we have a 30-minute, we have a daily, and we have a weekly chart. And that is how I kind of like to look at it. The 30-minute allows us, you can see the lightly shaded areas overnight, and then the darker color here is during the day. And so this allows us to look about 2 weeks back and sort of look at a more the market from a more granular perspective. Let's see here. Might even be able to, yeah, forget the watch list. I was thinking of making this a little bit bigger, but we won't go that direction. So we'll see if my my kid allows me to finish this today. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into it. I'm feeling mightily distracted right now. All right, yeah, we should be good. Okay, so looking at the S&P, we had this sort of this double bottom, right? We tested this area. It's a weekly trend line. And we've now bounced back up into this original balance area, and we are losing some momentum here, so would not surprise me for us to come back into the 414 areas and then go sideways a little bit and then finally break out. Also wouldn't surprise me to see new all-time highs as well, so especially with a new monthly candle coming up here. So a whole lot of, after this big push up, sideways, but sort of holding this area here, right? So sort of where we broke down from, so here, and then came back up, tried it twice, and then came back down. So tried this area twice, now we're back up. So even a little bit of sideways through here would be healthy. I prefer us to come all the way back down, get everybody bearish once again, and then do this, and then come back, and then take out all-time highs. So anyway, that is SPY. Nothing really too crazy. I mean, I say if we break 422, or yeah, we're just right. We're a stone's throw from all-time high, so we're right there. All right, so let's go look at the QQQ. Brian S. Message retracted. Man, I'm curious about your message, Brian. I hope you can hear me. My kid's trying to get my attention. I'm watching him today. The wife is working. Okay, so here, let's go to somewhere. Okay. The Qs are in a tight range here. And I sure hope you guys can hear me. Let's see. Let's turn this on. Yep. Okay, I just checked it. So it should be good. You know, let's get some background music on. Little. Maybe I won't. I gotta watch the kid anyway. So anyway, QQQ is a little bit more bullish. Well, we'll see that in a second. Okay, so I was just looking at microstructure. So looking back on the Qs, a lot more volatile, obviously, but still making higher lows. We mentioned that a few days ago. So, and it held this sort of consolidation zone here, right, in this area. So we've already held that. Now we're pushing back up. So I actually like how the Qs are shaping up here. Even though I know a lot of folks will be thinking, oh, look, it's a head and maybe a right shoulder. No, this is potentially more, it's looking something more like something like this, right? You would want a head that is much further up. Here's what we're gonna do. That's what I'm forgetting. This pointer focus tool here. Okay, now you guys are gonna be able to see where I'm pointing a little bit better, and I could use my tools. Jeez. I feel like such a struggler right now. All right. All good, misclick. Oh, thanks, Brian. So, anyway, where was I going with the Qs? This was the idea, and it didn't quite pan out. So we're going to get rid of that here. And we were looking at sort of a complex retracement. It didn't do that. Double bottom, went up, went sideways. So on the weekly, this is healthy. I mean, you see how we came up, we made this huge impulse off the lows, pulled back, consolidated, made higher lows, and then just sort of ground up through here. And then when we pull back, you notice how we're generally speaking holding this prior area, right? Markets aren't perfect, but we're generally holding it from this area. Now we're coming back up, went for all-time highs again, got it, pull back, and now it's a higher low. So man, until we start making lower highs and then lower lows relative to on the weekly, you know, you have to go with trend. So we're in a bull market and keep riding it until the trend changes. You know, till we start doing something like, just generally speaking, right? Like this, right? We're holding this, holding that level, and then up, and then we start, okay? Now, lower low, then up, lower highs, then lower lows, right? And so until we start doing that, well, we're not. We're doing this. Consolidation, right? Higher lows, lower highs. That's just a normal consolidation. Impulse relative to this area. Oh my kid. Consolidation, breakout, right? Slightly higher high relative to this. Still making what? A higher low relative to this area. So you just have to expect it's going to be something like that. I mean, it might even go sideways, might even pull back, right? And then do something like that. But just have to go with the highest probability play, and I think that is, you know, that's it. So anyway, going to IWM. We have a rule of 3 going on here. That's on the daily. That's a nice valid rule of 3, so I expect a breakout on the IWM. That would just be the most logical thing. Yeah, it's rejecting a little bit here below, but that's interesting. It's interesting considering all the movement we had in a lot of small caps, right? So the rule of 3 is what I'm like, 1, 2, and then here we are at 3. So if we do something like that, and then measure move right here to here, wherever it breaks out, add essentially that measurement here to up here. So, you know, something like that. Highly technical, huh? So whatever that is. So here to here, we can I like using this pen. So we can do a chart calculation and then just go right from low to high to give us our positive. So 25.34, right? So whatever that is, 250-ish. Gosh, that sounds crazy. But you know, it's a sideways consolidation for the Russell. You see that? There's a lot of sideways consolidation. These things, when they explode from sideways ranges or consolidation, man, they tend to go bonkers. So 250 would be up here somewhere. So anyway, looks bullish. The Dow, this was a funky chart. I mean, clearly it's a tightening market and folks are getting a little nervous in here. Yeah, if we break this lower trend line like this, especially if we break it with like some velocity, then it could really move downside. But as long as all the other indexes are moving up, this could get a little fakey. That's my idea there. So, oh, well, download fail. Okay, forget this one. So let's go to Apple. I need to activate that data feed still. I forgot about that. Started putting things in for various symbols, anticipating I was going to add a data feed, and I forgot about it. Okay, that's something I had to do with Sierra chart. Okay, so back over here to Apple. Man, I'm long Apple off of 127 or so. But I don't know. Not the healthiest looking of charts, even on the weekly. Likely sideways, but man, it could get nasty. So we have a few gaps in here. This is a bigger one here. Down at $95, $96. This thing's so gapalicious though. So anyway, I would be a buyer right here around $100 if we did break down from this consolidate, and it probably would get there, just because there still would be so much overhead. Might even go lower, and I'd look to be a technical buyer unless there's some crazy stupid fundamental driver that makes me nervous. But I don't know. If tech takes off, which I expect there to be more rotation into tech here pretty soon, and we'll see that, then I think Apple will just go with it. So not the best looking chart though. It's definitely not an A plus setup, and I'm very light long in the portfolio with Apple. So you know what? Before we move on to all of this, I've got this chart for sectors, and you can see up here it's just sector comparison. So it's like the SPY, VOOV. Shout out to Mitch for pointing these out to me. Value and growth. What is that? The VanEx. Oh, I can't remember. Vanguard. Yeah, that's what it was. So anyway, so value, growth stocks, staples, energy, materials, industrials, financial communications, consumer discretionary, utilities, and healthcare. And my kid might be needing my assistance. I think I gotta go poo poo. Needs help with that shit, literally. And so this is just tracking performance going back. Let's look here. 30 days. Okay, so this would essentially be this last month. Let's go 27, 28, 29 days. All right, there we go. So what is that? Just before month of May. Okay. So energy is still ripping. Financials are still ripping. Materials these are still reopen. Economy reopen type stocks, right? Industrial still ripping. And the Dow is a little bit more focused on industrials. Value, still going. Healthcare, so consumer discretionary in the shits, utilities in the shits. These are kind of defensive names. Growth, communications, let's see, where is might be missing something up here. Am I whatever? Oh, yes, I am. I am missing something here. Tech. Forget this chart. I missed some stuff on here. So anyway, we'll go back. Anyway, I expect tech to get rotation back to it. I'm not going to spend the time to add that into this chart here. So let's go with Microsoft. Still looking bullish. Higher highs, higher lows. So generally bullish. Google. And I need to go help my kid. I will be back. Apologies for this. Yep. All right. Help the kid. You know what's interesting is he understands a lot more than I think sometimes. You know, he's 3.5. So I'm helping him in the bathroom. He says, "Why are you being so quick, Daddy?" I said, "Well, I gotta do some trading stuff." He says, "Who, Daddy?" I said, "Well, the trading people are waiting for me." He said, "Your trading buddies?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh, you need to talk to them about the markets?" I said, "Yeah." He's 3.5. It's crazy. We'll see if he's a trader or not. I don't push him at all. If he comes into the office when it's not trading time and he asks about it, I let him click around and do orders and stuff. So it's all just fun, but nothing serious. And at that age, they ask, "What's that? What's that? How come? Why? What's that?" And I'll explain everything that I can. But there's absolutely no pressure whatsoever. I just want him to do what makes him happy in life. Okay, so Google is still, man, on this crazy trajectory to the upside, but still generally making higher lows and higher highs. So, man, it's just such a crazy chart on the weekly, though, isn't it? Yeah, we could say that about a lot of the markets, and could have said that for a long time, right? People were saying it when Google hit 2000. People were saying it when Google hit 1800. But how many impulses are there on the weekly? One. I'm thinking Elliott. 1, 3, 5, 7. I mean, come on. This thing just keeps going. So that's normal for it's gonna end when they start raising rates and stuff. So 2023-ish, few years. So the market will start to anticipate that, and we'll see a whole lot of. Maybe we'll see some parabolic blow-offs and then some sideways, and then we will correct. So I'm anticipating a lot of that, but the portfolio is still long until I start to see some weakness in the market or some sideways and some parabolic blow-off type moves. Maybe this is with Google a little bit here, but I think it could be a lot worse to the upside than this. So anyway, Amazon. What annoys me with my sectors chart that I missed, was it XLK or something? But that's what happens when you're going crazy on your charts all week. Okay, so Amazon. I'm long Amazon. A little underwater on it. I think I'm long from a little bit higher. Maybe. I'm not even sure. But if it comes down here, I will buy more around this area with the anticipation that it holds balance up here. So let's just look at the weekly here. And that's a long-term hold for Amazon. So we'll see. I would bail if it broke down. Absolutely. I take my losses with the best of them. Oh, sorry, that kid is trying to come into the office. I have my under desk treadmill thing standing up against one of the walls here, so I've got it at enough of an angle that I don't think he can pull it back, but kids surprise you, so it's a little bit of a danger zone for him. Even though I don't think he can pull it back, I just gotta stick to the side of extreme caution when you've got little ones. All right, let's start going faster here. All my kid wants to do is play with me. Okay, so Facebook. Likely a little short-term double top here. We had this measured move, we hit it, and we're trying again. Maybe we get some sort of push outside of it, but I would expect it to come back in. So we'll see. The measure move would have been 301 down to 245. So what is that? 55. So plus 55 from 281. So yeah, right up there. 333. So right there, $53 out of the breakout area. So a little bit of a move up. Stop out, get all the last shorts, and then a little reversal or something. So on the 30-minute, yeah, just sort of in this, I guess, very broad channel here. Let's see, we'll do it in white. Something like this, right? So that kind of movement, anything in there is pretty normal. So we'll see how. Not really a play for me on Facebook, but I'm just keeping in mind what the chart looks like for the rest of the equity complex. Tesla had some nice moves this last week. I didn't really play it. I don't like where Tesla is here. This is a sort of a no play zone for me, but I talked about this downtrend line, and if that breaks, we'll likely find some buyers, right? And so it broke, and we're now finding buyers, but it's not exploding to the upside here or anything. So, Tesla at this point has a lot of overhead. It's already tried, trapped a lot of folks. So, there's just not going to be as many. It's going to take some time to digest essentially this whole area and where we broke down from, right? Just from a supply perspective. So now you can see it's tightening up here as it broke the downtrend line. See how, right? You made this nice move, and then the impulses sort of diminish, and then the next few days even more so. So I expect this to be some sort of almost like this pullback is not very deep for a rule of three. Like I would like to see it here, and then boom, and then you probably get upside. But here everyone's just buying, right? This bar, everybody got stupid bullish, and then it's hugging this downtrend line, and then up. Okay, now we have the second, I guess, line from top to here, and then whoosh, breakdown. So it's not really a complex retracement in the purest sense. So to me, I think that this is going to be some sort of failed rule of three. I think it's going to come back in. But I don't know. I'm not I also don't like shorting Tesla when it's down in here, right in this area. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If we break this low, then I probably would take a short, because I think there would be liquidity here. If we broke this low, I think there would be liquidity found right. Well, let's see if I can zoom in enough here. Yeah, right in 540s. So I think it would be an easy 6-point short. I think intraday would bounce at the 540s, but I think we would likely even go for lower, right? Just because of the overall structure, right? We've got this making lower highs. If it comes down to that area, I would not expect it to be a double bottom. I would expect it to go further. And then looks like we have gaps here at 525. I would expect to try and see if we can fill that gap. And this is a big support zone. I will be bidding this area and hopefully catching it intraday. So if it gets there, I will be one excited dude, actually. So anyway, JP Morgan. Remember, going back to sectors, banks are doing well, right? Financials, XLF. See that? 4.4% this last month. Let's go back to this other chart. So anyway, that's part of, JP Morgan is obviously part of that. So here's a weekly chart. You could see 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, it made a nice big move as well. Broke out of this sort of bull flag here, and it's going. So mast on the bull flag is, well, where does it start? So in case you guys don't know about the bull flag and masts, okay, you got mast, flag, and then usually measured move. I mean, people do it different ways, but the more conservative way is to take the breakout and then say the mast is here to here, and so then area of breakout would be approximately same distance between the breakout here, which is part of this mast, and so here to the top, and then so about here. So I don't know, something like that, above 170. So I don't know, maybe it's got more. Maybe financials still have another last gasp in them before everyone starts anticipating bad things happening with the real estate market and other things. But that is complicated. So anyway, there's JP Morgan, Visa. What a choppy chart on the weekly. But as we pointed out last week, it's trying to hold this area, and it did. It pushed up a little bit, and now we're kind of coming back in. So yeah, it's a bit of a slow mover. But it looks like it's trying to hold the breakout area here. So if it starts to spring, boy, Visa could really rock, especially with the anticipation of higher interest rates in the next few years. People will they'll start buying this. All right, so Johnson & Johnson, where's my kid? He's quiet. Yeah, he's talking to himself in his room. That's a good thing. Okay, cool. Johnson & Johnson broke out. Still just looks good. It's in an uptrend. Measured move on Johnson & Johnson is plus 45. What kind of crack am I smoking? Oh, inverted head and shoulders. That's right. Much larger pattern. Breakout. Like, what kind of crack am I smoking here? Yeah, so this is the target on Johnson & Johnson up here at 204. Man, where did I start talking about this pattern? I think it was right back in here. Yeah, it was about here. On some of my first weekly equity reviews, and I said, man, wouldn't that be crazy if it went all the way up? So that was at 150. Now we're at 169. It's crawling. Anyway, Walmart. kind of a inverted head and shoulders thing going on the daily. I mean, a bit of a megaphone, yes, but you know, if we ignore that, it's kind of this. Right, here's your head. So if it comes in here like this, so this would be a complex head and shoulders or double shoulder head and shoulders. All right, and then if we broke that, then you're talking about a measured move from here to here. That's about 150 new all-time highs essentially. Yep, be close to all-time highs or new all-time highs. So it was all-time high 154. Yeah, so that would put us around all-time highs on Walmart if we broke this pattern to the upside. So it's tight here over the 30-minute though. Really tight. And definitely making a symmetrical triangle on a 30-minute here. Yeah, real tight. Anyway, Mastercard, another bullish looking one. I mean, even though it's a bit of a rising wedge, right? With the little failed breakout. It's not a stupidly bullish pattern, but I wouldn't say it's bearish. Most markets make rising wedges. It's just, and they go for a lot longer after you have identified the pattern, so you end up starting to. Hey buddy, just grab your tower, okay? And then don't come into the office, okay? Yeah, no, I don't want you in the office. Okay? Because this right here, this could be dangerous. All right? Sorry. So anyway, it's not like I would be looking to go long Mastercard, and I'm not. It's not part of the portfolio, but I just warn against that rising wedge. I've seen it for too long tear people up. Disney. Here, let's switch this trend line around here. One more right click. Okay, there we go. Just looking at it. Filled that gap. Resilient this thing is, isn't it? It's definitely into resistance here. So if you're looking for a short for whatever reason, this is all overhead resistance, right? But here's the trend line here too. So I think if you were looking to short Disney, getting it in here somewhere and then anticipating a rollover would be the better way to do it. Again, that's if you're looking to short it. I mean, it's also potentially a breakout to the upside. And you know, you've got to realize that the earnings didn't do what people expected it to do, and folks expected in Disney because of that to roll over, and it hasn't. So you know, when it does what you don't expect it to do, sometimes those can be some of the most bullish setups. So anyway, a lot of conflicting information technically and fundamentally with Disney. So I stay out. I wouldn't be looking to short it. Wouldn't be looking. You know what? I'd probably if the one setup I might be interested in is if Disney broke up to the POC and broke back down and then held and went. I'd probably be looking to get long. Right? Then you would have that sort of inverted head and shoulders thing, right, going on potentially. Right? Something like that. Because it's got everybody out of position based on the earnings. So that's one play. Bank of America. Look at that. Look at that. A little false break. 1, 2, 3. Couldn't go, but still making essentially an ascending triangle. Kind of. It's more of a symmetrical, but it's more ascending than symmetrical. Right? So price is moving up. Not really making higher highs. It did try here, so that's a big failure. here. But then higher lows and up against essentially supply here. So if it keeps grinding and then boom, finally goes, it's gonna go. So that's just the pattern. See it on the, you can see that little failure on the daily here. Definitely doesn't make it more appealing, but it's in a nice uptrend anyway. Proctor Gamble. My kid. Let's see. Broke out of this little balance area. We've had this as resistance now for a little while. So if you are going to go short, I'd probably target this area, 130. So 4 or 5 points for what? I'd probably put a stop up here. So 1.2 Rs, maybe 1.3 Rs. I mean, you could say potentially sort of this rounded double top. So you could target 124s. But then you've got essentially support here. Right, we already dipped on it. So if we come back through it, will that be enough, or will we range out? I don't know. It's just not a really, really high probability. The fact that we had this consolidation here on the left side doesn't bode well for me for a short for getting your TP2. So that's, you know, this would be TP1, this would be TP2. So Home Depot. I don't know. Likely range. No real play for Home Depot for me. You have this impulse pullback, too shallow. Didn't go far enough, and then it just lost steam. Made a lower low, and it's just not volatile or bouncy enough for me. I could easily see this rolling over off of this area here. Already made its measured move objective out of this breakout here. So this is a cool off. It's in cool off phase. Juan Lozano says, how are you able to be extremely unbiased on your trades? Well, sometimes I am biased. So I wouldn't say I'm always unbiased. Sometimes, you know, but I just one, I don't hold any huge size in any one name, and so I'm not hopeful. I'm just looking at it. If my size was too big, then it would probably warp my emotional perspective, and then it would be harder for me not to have a bias, right? Because you have too much risk on one name. So I would say not being too big in any one name helps a lot with that, among a lot of other things. So anyway, without going too deep into that, let's just move on to the next name. Nvidia. I have been saying on Nvidia that this thing looks like a diamond. Look at the moves, man. Pull back, and then 2 weeks. So each one of these bars is a week. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So in 2 weeks, just eclipse that. So if we go straight up, Juan, I'm glad, man. Speak up in that Discord if you aren't, man. There's a lot of people that love markets, myself included. And just have a good time, man. Be thankful for when people help you, and you know, just ask questions and share with people who don't know as much as you. If you do start, you know, becoming more competent. Not to say maybe you're already some I don't know, software or market wizard, but you know, try to give back, and it enriches the whole experience, man. But anyway, I've been saying this Nvidia looks a lot like Boeing, And I've been saying that every week. Okay, so here's the weekly. I'm kind of scrunching it up. So if we make a huge move, I would expect this thing to just blow off. So it's in a bit of a kind of a megaphone thing. But look at how Boeing played out. Let's see if I can find it here. Where are you, Boeing? I think you're on my other list. There it is. Look at how Boeing played out when it broke. Because you could say Nvidia is doing what Boeing did, which is like this short-term little megaphone, right? And look what happened when it broke that. So anyway, we know the megaphone pattern is a high volatility pattern, right? And it can produce some happy traders if you're on the right side, and then tears if you hold too long. So my advice is on Nvidia. I'd be looking to take some profits. I know they have some fundamental news, that they're some fundamentally good news, and a lot of it's tied to crypto. But I expect forward earnings to take a shit. So my conservative brain says be wary of Nvidia. If it breaks out, just take your profit. But I do know some people who are very, very, very long Nvidia, and they've been long since here. They held through all this, and now they're happy. So I don't know if it breaks to the upside here, which it looks like it might. It's got some momentum, some gaps below here too, which, you know, emotional markets tend to have lots of gaps, and these are some significant gaps. If it breaks this area, I'd be looking to take profit. That's just me. Oh, look at this chart. It's moving by itself. Look at that. Weird. PayPal. Let's see. I've been saying I like the PayPal chart for a long time. I would have preferred this. But it came up here, and it's a nice little rule of 3. Look at that. So 1, kind of 2 and 3. Oh, well. 2, and then a clear third. So, yeah, let's see. Let's see if it pulls back and then keeps going. But a fair amount of consolidation. Wouldn't surprise me to see it pull back or consolidate and then rip. So this was my optimal scenario. Didn't pan out. So that's my optimal scenario here on the daily. Intel. I don't like this pattern for see how it violates into this area so deeply. I know I've said in prior videos that when it violates, it gets a lot of stops, but geez, it just, if you watch Nvidia intraday, it often won't even hesitate through these areas. It's just kind of, my kid is, look at the date, look at this pattern, look at all this. Man, I just see supply, overhead supply, and I see traders seeing this going like, well, I don't want to get stuck with this. Take my profit when it's there. And you can just see it on the week. Neutral on this whole thing. It's a nice bullish looking chart still. We got 1, 2, 3. Just holding it. Wouldn't be surprised if this thing blows off here pretty soon. Rips the trend line and then just comes back. If it pops to 750, I would just be looking to buy puts. Like 4 or 5 month expiration puts. And maybe do some, I don't know, some spreads or something. The theta wouldn't be too bad on 4 or 5 months for a little bit. Maybe I wouldn't buy spreads. Maybe I'd just buy straight puts. We'll see. Anyway, have to see what the IV is on that. Comcast. I hate this company. This is my internet provider. They've boned me for so many years. Definitely into a lower volume all-time high area. If it holds 56.5 and bounces, then probably looking at all-time highs. We'll see. All right, so this is POC on this 30-minute chart. You can see that kind of corresponds roughly to this little protruding volume node here, which is why I say if it holds this and then bounces, probably looking all-time highs. But it looks more like a range play. So where it comes up, big pullback, comes back again, big pullback. So might go for all-time highs, but I would expect it to. Here, let's see. Oh, good. Yeah, I don't even like that. I would expect it to range out. Let's see. You see so many of these things do this. Wouldn't be surprised if it ranges all the way out to here. And then, yeah, if it's still going sideways, might get an explosion to 63, 64, something like that, further down the road. Plug? I'll look at plug. Absolutely, man. Let me add it to the list before I forget. Let's see, is it on there? Plug, 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 plug. I don't want to redo my list based on alphabetized. I've got this all organized a different way. Let's see. Alright, I gotta go manually add it to the bottom here. Plug. Alright. My kid is trying to get my attention. Alright, Comcast. Exxon Mobil was in a tight channel. Now it's going sideways a little bit underneath what was essentially the breakdown resistance here. So the energy complex, I think West Texas Intermediate crude is sitting near all-time highs. I don't have the futures up in front of me, but Exxon is definitely finding some resistance here, so no play for me. But I do, let's see, just looking at the 30-minute here. Yeah, no play for me. I don't have a strong opinion on it. So Verizon still is a good looking chart on the weekly. Choppy, obviously, but at some point it's going to rip. Oh, you could just drink it then. That's another way to do it, okay? Yeah, that's right. That's exactly how to do it. Okay, go for it. Show and tell me how delicious it is, okay? Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. Okay, I gotta keep doing this, buddy. All right. So yeah, it looks like a choppy ride, and it's moved like this before, right? You get that sort of that head dip, and then you get the shoulder action, little false breakout, but you know, it looks like Verizon to me looks like a good long-term hold. So if you have it as part of your portfolio, in my opinion, I would be personally, for my account, still holding it long. Coca-Cola. So on the weekly, I've been talking about this for a while. When it makes these moves, you can typically sell and then try to buy back lower. But you know, you might have to be really patient before you get another buy. So maybe you buy back at 150, 152, something like that. 49.50. Just scale in. And then scale out $5 or $6 again. That's how I would be playing it, because it has moved this way for a long time now. I don't know if you guys can see where my cursor is. So Netflix at a buy. It's at a buy zone in my opinion. This is sideways horizontal consolidation here. Yeah, it tried to break out, did a little rule of three, 1, 2, 3, trapped a bunch of longs, blah blah blah. But it looks like it's eating them alive, and now we're building up energy for another push. So, you know, break of 572s, look for doubling this area. That'd be my play on it. But short term on the 30-minute, we had this little symmetrical triangle, tried for it, almost got the measured move, and then boom, push back. So higher time frame is what's governing this thing. Pretty choppy on a lower time frame, but fun to trade. Definitely fun to trade. Just look and see. I would probably chart this thing on like an hourly. And let's see. This is probably only looking back 30 days. Maybe look back like 60 days to see how this thing moves. Okay, so here was the earnings, disappointing. So you can see very clearly here, right? Consolidation broke down. So what do? Right? We had this little thing going on. We pushed up into what? This, and then whoop, right back down. So this is the higher time frame thing that is causing resistance. Right? So if we get a move back into this area, given this he was holding, I would still be looking to get back long for a break up here. So if you're long, I don't know. Until we break this area, right? This LVN, that could be a super fake out area, but until we break into this area, hopefully you're not holding to, see the HVN here. If you started to break through this area right here, so what is that, 435s? Longs would capitulate through here, and then we'd move further. So you know, maybe you want your stop, right, breakout area, like right in this area here. I think I need to clear this out. 445. Yeah, something like that. More conservative would probably be 455, 456, but you know, there's a chance you get faked out here and then it comes back. But you could always buy back if it comes back into this balance area. The kid's getting louder. Hey buddy, if you want to go swimming later, you're gonna have to stay quiet right now or go play in your room, okay? Oh, cool. All right, but you can't be distracting me right now and starting to sing and stuff, okay? That's not considerate. All right, thank you. All right, so Adobe with the breakout, the pullback, and now it's going for it. Looks bullish to me, even though it's a parabol. Let's see. Sort of this parabola. That makes it tougher. See, that was different. So it's not just moving like it's like just this parabolic. This sort of this climax here where it just goes bonkers. into the body here. Yeah, before going long Adobe, I would want it to see it break 523. The reason is it didn't break out and then sort of just barely pull back. It pulled all the way back here. And just given the magnitude of this move already, back over the last 3 or 4 years, oh man. It's frightening. All right. But measured move, let's see. Man, if this is a flag and this is the mast, that's craziness. Do I have a measured move up there? No, I don't. $330 to $530 plus 200. That seems bonkers. 689. We're just gonna put it up there and put the measured move up there and see what it. Let's see, 689. Let's see if it ever gets there. We'll just leave it on the chart. Anyway, Adobe looks like it could have some upside. So Cisco Systems on the daily, we're in a symmetrical broadening formation, aka megaphone-ish kind of pattern. Look at that, right? Breaking up, pulling back, pull back. Whoa, bought again. A little crazy. What is that, earnings? Is that what that was? Yeah, earnings. It's probably earnings. I don't know. I don't know for sure. These charts don't tell me if it's earnings. Craziness. Right off of what we had determined was support. Man, I didn't buy this at 49. What am I thinking? Son of a gun. Right on predetermined support. Look at that. High volume node, right into it. Just right into it. Look at that. Even under. Man, that got so many stops after hours. Jeez. Jeez Louise. Okay. Broadcom. Out of the channel on the daily into a range. So resistance up here at 485-ish. So some more upside. And you could see there's some consolidation even here. That'll probably be resistance. So here's what we'll do. We're already using our price zones tool, so we'll just go like this. Say like this is resistance, and let's watch it next week. All right. Texas Instruments. Breaking out. Looks good. Looks good on the weekly. Looks good on the daily. Looks good on the 30-minute. So, Costco had some earnings. Earnings were better than expected. Costco still sold off because of look at where it is. If earnings were here, my kid. If earnings were here, and we were, then it probably would have exploded. But there's supply here, so. And if you watch the earnings, right, as news came out, it was like you get these little spikes, and then it wouldn't go anywhere. And if you looked at time and sales, there was just some big sellers. They're like, we're getting out into this. So Qualcomm. Holding this area here, holding it down at 125 to 135. That's interesting. Look at that big gap right here, though. Do you think that acts like a drag, like a weight on this market when folks see these big monster gaps? Yeah, it does. Look, monster gap. Nothing terribly bad, but it just came back in. Here, resistance, right? Let's see if we can show it a little better, right? We identified this as resistance. It just acts like a drag, man. There's these huge gaps into the market like that. Look at that, huge, and they're not just insignificant. It's a lot of these are a lot of folks that are in profit from the 90s, who are just like, well, I'm still holding. They're not really gonna. They're not gonna get rid of their long stock from their long-term portfolio until it starts moving down. And then there's always people as it starts to move down, they'll always hold on. You know, oh, wrong color. They'll hold on. Oh, well, you know, I'm still a lot in profit here. And they can't recognize what's happening. And they just like, well, I don't want to sell the bottom here. What if it comes back up here? And then maybe it does this. And then, oh, now this is acting like resistance. And then as soon as it rolls over again, they're like, they can't recognize this, that this is telling you it's bearish, right? It's acting like resistance now. What was support is acting like resistance. So they won't, as soon as it makes a move down, they won't just get rid of it, right? And then it makes a new low and like, well, I don't want to sell the bottom. This is support now, all right? And then it bounces and they just hold on. This is the psychology of a long-term bag holder. And then this becomes resistance, but they don't know how to read a trend. So, well, they don't want to sell a new low. Well, it's into the gap now. I don't want to sell that, right? And then it goes into the gap. And then what ends up happening is some people panic and they get out at break even. Well, I don't want this to be a loser now. I want to have made some money. And then this just becomes a wick. And then they're chasers again. Let's see. Yeah, then they're chasers as it goes straight back up. And then there's a trend line. And then they cry. Is this chart? What is up with this chart? I probably have a limit, like 150 candle limit going forward. I think that's what's happening. Anyway, undo all these chart drawings. Not predictive whatsoever, just explaining this. That's why investing is hard. Okay, next thing here. And then we get to the movers. The movers and the shakers. Amgen. I don't know what caused this, but emotional. Look at that. Foom, foom, sideways, foom. Not a fan of Amgen, even trading it. BYND. This thing has broke my heart. I stopped out of BYND down at, I don't know, below this area. I stopped out. And then, I don't know, had some news or something. It's like, and it was right on this megaphone support that it bounced. Right over here at 101. But I know I had some sort of news, but this thing broke my heart. I stopped, it reversed, now I was long from in here somewhere. 136s, I think. If I just would have held. Yeah, well, you don't know the future, so that's trading. So, on the 30-minute, so this is going to be support now. So let's put the price zones, green, let's put support here. Right, that's support. So you want to see how it acts here as it comes back in. Does it find support? We now have a gap here to here. All these gaps, look at that. See, isn't it interesting though how you have these patterns where they expand and then they expand, and look at the volatility it creates with gaps. Such an emotional market, man. Such an emotional market. A little crazy. Alright, so Discovery A, it's been on the list for a long time. I've been out of this thing since 36. It was a loser for me. Another loser. I just don't like how it's behaving. So, not going to give it too much attention this week. Let's see. DraftKings, nice move back to the upside. Trying to figure this thing out here. Choppity chop. What is going on, dude? Oh, okay. Oh, good job. By yourself? Wow, like a big boy. GameStop. All right, let's see. Shout out to Fade Them. He was right. He was the one that said, looks like some upside on this thing. And he was right. So, a good job, man. And on these, look at the gap there that's coming back into 216. What do you think? Intraday, if it goes and fills that gap, do you buy it? I won't. I won't buy it. But I wonder how many of you will buy it if it comes back and fills that gap. So anyway, big engulfing now. If you're into daily chart patterns, right? You get this expanding pattern and boom, big rejection. So I'd be wary. Micron. Let's zoom out here. God, that held so nicely. Springboard. Boing. Why not? If you're long, I'd just stay long. I'm not long. Looks good. Oh, what? Yeah, Peloton. I was saying on Peloton, expect a break here. Look at that. Too close to the trend line. Alright, where's the resistance? Yeah, we're into resistance, aren't we? We are into resistance on Peloton. So, you see how it's almost filling that gap here at 115? These are nice to have on your chart. Not quite. Initial rejection. So, okay, here's what we do. We look at it from this daily perspective here, and we go, all right, I'll put a little zone in here. This is consolidation. You would expect this to be support. And there's a little consolidation here and here too. So this is like second level right there. Right? So you can see that. So you would want this to act like support if we pull back on Peloton. Right now, breakout. So here's the trend line. So the trend line could coincide right in here and then boom. So if it holds this and springs, then I would at least target the gap at 115, 116. And then next 124, 125. And then potentially you have this impulse, shoulder, neckline, head, pullback area again after this. Maybe a higher low here relative. So truncated right shoulder potentially, because now all this volume, right, may hold trap shorts, right? And we already flushed out the weak longs. And then maybe you get something. Maybe. I don't know. So, 'tis what I'm thinking. But looks like this perfect head and shoulders, what was a perfect head and shoulders here, isn't playing out right now. So, yeah. Anyway. TSM. I'm long TSM. I was wanting to add in this area here. Never got it. 104, 105s. So that made me a sad boy. And I'm still long from like I think I'm long from about 117 actually. So I got long on this pullback here. Right, my stop would have been down here, but I was willing to buy more here. And just didn't get there. Should have bought here. Yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I didn't. So on the weekly, starting to make its move up. what was I talking about? Fills this gap. Okay, it already did. Okay, so let's get rid of that. So this is nice. This is a nice, nice pattern here. It's a nice bullish looking stock. So TSM, I'm going to hold on TSM. I have a TP1 up here at this here, and then TP2's new all-time highs. I'm willing to hold it for a while. Workhorse. Man, I still see dead traders on this. I'm going to move on. Zoom, I am long Zoom. Oh, that was weird. I'm hearing dings. Anyway, let's see. This is a beautiful chart. Beautiful, beautiful chart. Look at that. Right off of the buy zone here. Just 1, 2, 3. God, this is a beautiful chart. I think I'm going to add Zoom next week. I'm going to add. Now that we're here, I'm going to add. I will take off my add into LVN here. But God, it could rip through that so fast. This would be definitely some resistance. So if I add early next week, I will take off definitely the add into like 370. Just lower my average. If it comes back, buy some more. Zoom looks good though. I don't know if my kid went poo-poo or pee-pee. Hey Ben, which one did you go? Poo-poo or pee-pee? Oh, both. All right, I'll be right back. Okay. So, Zoom looks good. Next. Boeing. Shout out to Mitch in San Francisco. Killed it on this call. He's a moderator, administrator supreme in my Discord. And he's a great trader. And he suggested Boeing looks like it's ready. Boeing looks like it's going to boing. And it did. So he's profitable. I am left admiring from a distance. But that's okay. I'm happy about that. Yeah, looks good. Just looking at. We are definitely at some short-term daily resistance. If it breaks above 259, watch out. Above 259, we got this low volume area. It could rip to 310 quickly, very quickly. So still getting over, and then there's just a shit ton of supply probably. So chop, chop, chop. But anyway, that's my idea with. That's how I feel about Boeing. Alibaba. I don't know. It's a decent looking chart. This could very well base out here and then break this trend line, and that'll get a lot of folks excited. This could easily turn into an uptrend is what I'm getting at. Very easily. So lots of previous support here. And what I like about it is if you go back here, you just, let's change this. you can draw this nice little trend line here. Right? So you've got, let's see, price zones. All this area right here. Let's see if how much of the price action we can capture, plus this POC here. So that's all potential support. So, man, could get really fakey. So I would put your stop like 165-ish. And then, because if this POC breaks here, it's going to rip to the downside. So maybe even 170 or something. Again, that would be a stop for a long-term investing kind of position. All right, short-term, you might even put a stop under the lows here, right? 201, something like that. Or maybe even, God, if it gets close to 200, usually they go find liquidity under 200. So yeah, maybe 203, 204, right? So if it breaks that, they're going to go find liquidity under 200. That's normal. Rocket, you know, I bought some Rocket, and then it rocketed. I bought it when it moved up here. I bought it in the 17 somethings, and now I didn't sell. I forgot I had it. Too much Discord apparently. Never sold. Came all the way back. I'm still holding it, so well, whatever. I'll stop out below these lows. Just say I'm out. But right now it's about what, the 618 of this. Let's see. Let's put a Fibonacci on this. It was done what, pre-market, so I don't know how valid that is. Anyway, yeah, see how we're close to the 618? Just a little visual. I know I was really close. So if it doesn't bounce here, it doesn't hold this area, maybe we'll even stop out 1709 or something. Just say fuck it, I'm out. It's gotta hold. It's gotta hold this. Gotta hold this. Doesn't. This was probably just some short-term news event. Pump it to get out or something. Bag holders. I don't know. Blackberry. I've been talking about Blackberry for a little bit and how it's gonna probably rip. It did. See that? Just this trend line break. See how it broke it? And boom. So I said it's decent risk reward on Blackberry. And if you got long, where I was talking about 8 something, I said, hey, we've got this area here is TP1, and it was TP1, wasn't it? Like 12s, but like your stop was under the low, so you know you're talking about a 3-to-1 R's, or just for this move, just to get long here. Did I take it? No, but you know, I just want to point out sometimes the trade makes sense, just even if it's not, you know, it's a little bit of a pump and dump looking kind of chart. If you can put your risk close enough to where it invalidates this, what you see is this curling up against this trend line, it still might be worth it to take a small trade. And you know, if you're okay with losing on the trade to this level, it's just a low stress trade, isn't it? You know, put your stop in regular trading hours. For regular trading hours only at like 750, and you were long, whatever it was, 860s, or I was talking about, and then you know taking profit up here. What sucks is, you know, TP1 was right in this area. I think it was a little higher. It's like 12 something, and it didn't quite get there. But so I don't know. Oh, did it get there? I guess it got to 12. So. Still, nice little trade. Okay. MET Applied Materials. They had great earnings. Man! I played this on earnings. I made a little bit of money. And this is a nice looking chart. I just like it. Look at this. Right. Pull back, pull back. So complex. Boy, that was sloppily drawn. Complex retracement. And then it had earnings here, and it didn't really go all that much, you know, like, but the earnings, even the forward, everything was good. And then over the next few days, it just kept pushing. And I told myself when the earnings came, I said, boy, this is likely a really nice setup. But I was looking at this weekly going, man, it didn't go anywhere. But yeah, trading is hard. Okay. So still, if it pulls back and it holds 130, still might be a good play. Anyway, Etsy. I see more dead traders. So diamond reversal, kind of bounced on off support, but hasn't done much. Gap to 181. So that would be resistance into 190-ish. But even the gap, I don't know. Probably 185. So above the gap would be resistance, 185s. So we'll put that on there. Oh. Right there is what I think is going to be resistance. Yeah, and you can see it on the 30-minute a little bit. Kind of coincides with this. I wonder how much volume transacted here. Yeah, we know that there's a little bit of a up. LVN, and then it's not an HVN, it's just more volume. So I would expect that to be resistance. So if you're short Etsy, maybe stay short. I mean, unless it breaks, what is it? And I guess you have a body of like a whole week of this, right? Just lower highs. Keeps grinding down. So I'd stay short. Just based off the last week. Showing some weakness. Square. So here's my idea with Square. What? So we got this one right. Are we getting this one right too? Looks like it. Anyway, potential. These kind of patterns that set up like this typically turn into big trading ranges. So, hey, it's moving back up. So we'll see. We'll see if it does this. You know, if it comes back up, it's going to be rule of 3. 1, 2, and then you probably go get a false breakout or something like that. That's pretty normal. But it's becoming rather obvious to a lot of people that this is now a trading range. So you get people looking to buy before the halfway mark, and then they want to sell as it's made some sort of move, right? And then you start getting something like this. So who knows, maybe it does this, then it goes up to the top. Then everyone gets excited. They're like, well, I'm going to short in front of this, and then short fuel, and then they have to cover when it breaks outside the range. And then all the longs are like, no way, I'm taking profit. I identified this back in here. So I don't know, who knows? Or maybe there's a fundamental driver and then it breaks out to new highs, but different places that you can go long and then take profit where it potentially turns back. But because this is going to be the third time, you sometimes get that false break. But typically you do shred the stops above what is now a second high. So you get that third one, you at least shred stops, and then, you know, if the move isn't super explosive, then it usually fails. So tis my thoughts on that. Roku, nice looking chart, and starting to break out. So a little complex consolidation on the 618, found support. So it looks good. Roku's a bullish chart. Palantir. You are too young to be sighing like that deeply, Benjamin. No, sighing. You're sighing so deeply. Like you have troubles in life. You don't. Everything is good. There's sunshine. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I'll get to you in a little bit. I'm almost done with my movers and shakers list, okay? And then I'll come out and play with you, and we'll go hang out in the swimming pool. All right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. With you. Absolutely. All right. Just be patient, okay? All right. All right. So Palantir, more dead traders. Look at, as it started to break this trend line, it was like, whoop, no, get me out of this thing. That's what I see. Get me out of this thing. 1, 2, 3. Rejection. Foomp. We're going to make new lows. Here, let's put something on there. I don't know. If you're bag holding Palantir. There'd probably be buyers on this trend line, though. So, get some stops. More buying. It's got to base out, man. It's got to shake out all the retail. Plebeians. Okay. Coinbase. I see more dead traders. Look at that. 207. So I was interested in buying this thing under 200. Never got there. Son of a gun. Anyway, we're starting to look at trend lines now with Coinbase. Check it out. All right. All right. Let's get this thing. Oh, that's not very accurate, is it? This might matter right now. Someone told me Peter Resnicek is actively charting this thing. Maybe see what he has to say. See the trend lines? 1, 2, 3. Shake out. Fake out. We'd want to see this go sideways, 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 and then start to curl up. Make a higher high relative to maybe this area. I don't know. And then a higher low relative to this area. And then start to push up. And then maybe get long Coinbase. I don't know. But 250 is going to act like an anchor. Why is that? Because 250 was the suggested retail price. But just keep in mind, if crypto goes through a little bear market, Coinbase will suffer. All right. So Pinterest, kind of looking at this. If you're long Pinterest, I'd probably stay long. You'll have some resistance here. It'll probably get really choppy. Might take a little bit of time to get through here. But if it can get through, then it's probably coming back to this area. So I don't know. Pinterest would surprise me to see some sort of crazy move to the upside just based on the chart pattern like that. Diamond-esque. Let's see. AMD. It's not a bullish looking chart for now, but more likely range than head and shoulders, only because of the size of this left shoulder. So, and then the volume is good for this breakout. You see that down here. And then this head, you should see volume here. And then sell volume should increase substantially. It's not through here, which makes me think it's range. So for a nice looking head and shoulders, the volume at the bottom should be, okay, this is good, right? And then down in here, it should be like this. And then this should be less volume than this. So it should be less for the head. And then for the selling here, you should get a spike. So it's less here. It does spike a little bit. And then here, the buying here should be on reduced volume, right? Showing less institutional interest to go make a higher high, right? And then as it sells off, the volume should increase. So here to here. So it is a little bit increased volume. So it's interesting. It's not picture perfect, but it's decent for a head and shoulders. It's just the height of this left shoulder relative to the head is not a great look. So I would say, just based on the pattern, like I would want to see it like this. I want to see it more like this. But we don't. We got this chopped off here. So I'd say it's more likely that we range on AMD. But never know. It's nice defined risk if we do break down. So, and then your pattern or your target is 55, 56, and support here. So let's put something on here. Price. What's this? There you go. Let's see. Ford. Is it still ripping? Yeah, it's ripping. These companies are all targeting the electrical vehicle space, and they ain't gonna give up easy, that's for sure. So Ford is, just looking at it here on the weekly. Into an area of resistance here. This, but not, it's not terribly bad. It's interesting. Man, if it holds 13 and a half, man, it could really, I just love that it broke POC here on with such an explosive move. So 12 and a half. So I would look to be a buyer at like 12.85 to 13 and a half ish for a long-term play on Ford. You know what? I'm gonna put bids in. I'm gonna go for it. Anyway. Huh, interesting. Haven't really been following Ford all last week too much. A lot of people have been talking about it, I know that. So O'Reilly, inverted head and shoulders, broke out, pull back. So broke this daily downtrend. But this is what we're looking at on the weekly. This happens often. So you get a breakout and it comes back, kisses this trend line and then rips. So it's actually not too bad. 30-minute little head and shoulders, but I don't give those a whole lot of, well, this was a nice one. Let's see. We'll keep an eye on it for next week. Twitter. Back into the gap. Let's see. Yeah, Twitter is a wild one, isn't it? So this is resistance short term, right here at 60, and then next one is 63. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of playing Twitter right now. Here, right? You had this trend line, kind of broke it. So here's what I'm looking at. On the weekly, we had this trend line. We broke it, came out, came right back in. So I'm wary because of the weekly pattern of, let's see, this. Breaking the trend line, coming back in. And then you end up getting this, and then if it goes, it's just going to go. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of playing this. Right, so you can do this. With that 1, 2, oh man. I've seen this setup where you get a gap down, everybody's bearish. Too many people short. Now you have a trend line. Then when it starts to go, shorts just either they double down, right? Because they're like, well, this recency bias keeps them bearish. They double down. If they just keep buying, it turns into fuel, and then before you know it, you're like, why the hell is Twitter at all-time highs? So I'm going to watch that for the bullish side. It's kind of a contrarian trade based on the fundamentals, but those can be powerful when something doesn't do what you expect it to do, and everyone expects it to do something. It's not doing that. If you're aware enough to see that's what's happening, Precipio, this needs to come off the list. If you're aware enough that that's what's happening, and you get on the opposite side of what the masses are doing, it could be very, very profitable. Okay, so Principio, you are coming off the list. You little pump and dump. Where were we at? Let's see, Twitter, Eli Lilly. Filled the gap. Interesting. It's not a bearish looking chart on the weekly or the daily, so. Yeah, it looks good for more upside. Let's see. Right there. But not really going after this trend line here, so little gap fill, pull back, held. What was resistance or consolidation now became support. I don't know, looks good. All right, so next one, ARPL. Just ranging out. Ranging out. I'm going to take this one off the list. I don't want to do it anymore. Let's see. This list gets too long. AMC. Well, this was fun, wasn't it? I played AMC last week. Quite a bit. Let's see. So the short interest on AMC was... Here, let me find it real quick on Twitter. There's a guy, Ehor something. All right, here's. Let's see. Let me make sure that this is not showing. Okay, here we go. He's showing the live stream. Okay, so it's at IHORS3, and this guy runs a. There, let me just click on his name for you guys. Real-time short interest, S3 Partners, and he's a splendid person, and he publishes short interest and different things like that once in a while. So on Twitter, he's a nice follow, and if you ask him nicely, sometimes he will. Sometimes he will post the real-time short interest, and he's been doing it for what is it, AMC, and it was back. I bought a lot right here, 1361. I bought a ton based on his short interest score being like a 10 of 10 for all the various factors. Did I hold it very long? No, I sold it in here. Of course, I lament that, right? Looking at all of this is just craziness, but anyway, he provides some awesome information, and I've seen his stuff play out time and time again. But I've only been following him for maybe a year or something on Twitter, and I don't often take trades based on anybody's information. His might be one of the better ones, though, to actually take some trades based on. So AMC looks like it's curling over here on the 30. See that? Right, and you see this daily chart now. It's gonna it might get a spike, but this would be resistance just above the volume node here. I would say even 27s. So we might want to look at the short interest on this before you start shorting here. But if you can get some shortable shares, I would probably be looking to fade this back down. Support is around 20 bucks, so it's kind of interesting. You see these white lines? These are prior gaps. So what I like to do when it pulls back off these gaps or onto these gaps, so here's the idea. As price is moving up, right? People know that there are prior gaps in the market. shorts like to take shots into these gaps, right? Shorting, looking for a pullback from the gap. So they shorted here, they shorted here. Okay, so this is 24.60 or so is where this gap was. And if you go look at the structure, you see that? It's a fairly significant gap. So as we moved into this gap on this short squeeze, shorts are adding here, right? You see that? 24.64, look. Oh, you don't even see it actually. I'm tripping. It's higher even. Right back here. So gappity gap, right? So above, shorts are have added here above this prior swing high, and then they're adding here. It's consolidation. So what happens is when we move above that, right? And again, this is being fueled by outstanding short interest. What happens is shorts add, and then some of course get crushed. But as we come back after such a huge move up, and we mean revert back down, a lot of these shorts who shorted this area will look to cover. So that's what I was doing on AM's. Ben, you're having a bad attitude right now, okay? You're being impatient, okay? So you need to go play in your room now, okay? You have to. Okay, well then you could relax on the couch, but you cannot jump up and down and start interrupting right now, okay? All right. Smackdown. So that's what I was looking to do right here on this massive pullback, is I was looking to get long here, and I did. I got long right here. And, you know, folks in Discord where I was talking to folks, they can attest to that. I actually got long here, and I said, hey, if you're short, because I know some guys were short, I would look for, you know, if you have multiple accounts, right? If on the account you're short, right, I wouldn't cover, but maybe you can outperform this trend by going long on some of your other accounts for a bounce. And I got out for like $1.50 or something. It wasn't very much. It bounced way higher than I thought. Right, it went from like whatever it was, 24.15 or something, all the way to like 28 and 28.30 if you caught, you know, the low to the high. But intraday, I like to get out right off the 10 SMA, which is in a downtrend. Can't really see it here, but I get out ahead of that because a lot of times it'll just reject there. So that's the higher probability play. So anyway, on that gap, I was buying, right? And so if you're wondering, well, why the heck did it bounce there? That's part of the reason, right? And then there was a little bit of prior structure here too. So right here. So shorts are going to cover as it breaks that low. They're going to start covering. So you want to try to compete with them, and then as they chase it a little bit, you know, you get out into when shorts get nervous. Just get out of your long. So that's how I like to play it. See, I can't see my chat anymore. What time is it? 13. Let's see, 1:30. Okay. Okay, so what's the next one? NIO. All right, let's see. This one could go either direction. I mean, it's a little bit of a descending triangle from here, right? But these often, when they come down and then they don't break down, they only have one way to go, which is usually up, because, you know, shorts, if they're wrong, it turns into an explosive move. So not a great pattern on this. Goldman Sachs looks bullish. Yep, we've said Goldman looks bullish for a while. Continues to just try to expand its range to the upside. Nice consolidation. Has not broken this trend line down, or sort of this channel it's in. BGFV, Big Five Sporting Goods. Man, look at that. Look at that candle. Jeez. What, everyone's going to be buying all their rafts and everything else for the summer? Is that what's happening here? Price it all in 1 week? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not touching this. TTD. Trade Desk. Oh, someone was saying that, this is now the third time I've mentioned this, SMB Capital was saying it's overdone to the downside. Could be right. I don't know. I guess it's slowly making its way back up. I don't know. That's, we put a trend line like that. It's at resistance in this area though, so I don't know. If it goes sideways and starts to move, then I would be more interested, but just this big move up, big move down, it's about 50% of the move. I don't know. It has been pretty bouncy, so we'll see. I can see why they like to trade it just based on this movement. Definitely some upside potential there. Let's see, what's the next one? Urban One, looked like a pump and dump. But man, has this thing flew before. Yeah, this comes off the list. Ross, Dress for Less. They just had earnings, so I was playing it. Gonna come off the list. Won't spend any time on this. ANVS. Little pump and dump. Anovis Bio. Yeah, no thanks. Well, we'll leave it up here, but I'm not gonna spend time on it. Pieris Pharmaceuticals. It's probably going to get a little pump. Would not surprise me off this area. Back to 406 or something. So 50 cents for maybe 30 cents. So maybe close to 2 to 1 Rs. That's not terrible, but I just think it'll bounce a little bit because it's refusing to. Well, it's only been, what, 3 days? Yeah, probably give it more time. CRM. Salesforce broke the downtrend line. Everybody got excited. Right there. So Gap. Had good earnings. So if it pulls back, 230 might go. It's a nice chart for a company that had good earnings. So the weekly chart looks good too. So CRM goes on the list to potentially buy. Lowe's. I think it's at a buy point where when it hits 180s, not up here at 193. That said, it could push up. I'm just not a huge fan of the daily. Coming up, higher high, lower low. So I would want it to make a, here, let's do this. I would want it to make a complex retracement into this area and then buy it for a bounce that way. But be a patient buy probably, and then go. That's my idea. That's my, the kid likes to tell me. That's my idea, Daddy. Okay, next one is VNTR. Crazy stock. Another crazy one. I don't know what the story is behind this. Vertex Energy. Just a crazy stock. Look at that. That's been there before, so there's gonna be, well, no volume back up here though. So really, maybe there isn't a whole lot of bag holders. Who knows? Doesn't look like it. Gap here. huge gap, but you know, that's expected if there's some sort of news. Interesting. Maybe I should need to write this down. I will write it down and go take a look at what caused all this. I just don't know. Let's see. Plug. 727. All right. Here's plug. Plug power. Golly. Another crazy one. See, this is gonna have massive supply in it. Look at the volume. You see that? So it's gonna have some. Jeez, this thing's just loading and loading and loading. Okay. Oh, because I put what, 60 days? That's why. Yeah, I gotta go back to 30. Let's see. I don't know. It's trying. I could see what 727 is potentially getting excited about. It's this. What? That's what he's getting excited about. I'd wait for it though, because there's so much. Look at the weekly. Inverted head and shoulders are much better if you have like a weekly pattern. Just saying, man. Daily, I mean, it might rip. There might be some good news. I don't know. But there's supply on the weekly here. Right? You see it on the daily. Yeah, that captures it. And then, you know, this is a lot of air. Then some decent supply here. But look at the bars. I mean, there is still supply through here. It's not like there's no volume. So hitting the 200. Yeah, the 200 SMA right here. That red line is what he's talking about. So I'd be more interested in a short here, or even up here. If it tries to go here, I'd be looking at a short probably at 35, 36. Maybe buy some options or something, and then for it to pull back into the volume node at 28, 29, 30. That would be the play to me. This is now a little bit of a dirty chart, but so yeah, that's it. Man, an hour and 53 minutes with poo-poo breaks for the kid. But anyway, gonna go. I think it's about 90, 91, 92 degrees out there today, and I filled up his little kiddie pool. It's gonna be his first time. It's been warming up in the sun, so he's stupidly excited to splash around out there. So that is what's going to happen. Hope you guys have a a great weekend. I might do another. Well, tomorrow I won't be available, but I might do another video later today if I am motivated to do another video on some setups that I saw in cryptocurrencies last week, and to walk you through how I achieved buying Ethereum in the 1730s on Coinbase last week, and what I was seeing, and yeah, just the technical setup that was there, what the time and sales looked like for me to feel confident to buy that. And it was essentially, I bought almost to the tick lows on Ethereum, like at least on Coinbase. So drank too much coffee, my throat is a little dry. So anyway, have a great weekend, guys, and if you haven't checked out the Discord, we spend a lot of time in there, and there's a lot of really cool people in there, a lot of interesting information, educational stuff posted, all kind of YouTube videos, PDFs, Orderflow, all kinds of material posted in there from a bunch of traders who've been amassing a lot of this educational data for a lot of years, and so they've posted all of that. And so it's a nice place to, you can kind of go look in the library educational channel, and you'll just see a whole lot of posts in there that have a lot of educational material. I haven't even seen it all. There's too much in there, but it's good stuff. So anyway, there will be an invite in the description of this YouTube video. So yeah, just go check it out. And it's free. It doesn't cost anything. I mean, we do have a private group, and that's free as well. But that's for people who are massively contributing and day to day are people I enjoy hearing their points of view and their perspective, and they bring value to me. So that's not, the private rooms are not rooms that everybody has access to. There's only like, out of a few hundred people that are on Discord, there's only maybe 22 people in the private rooms. But again, those are what I would say they're highly value add rooms, and those are people who understand the essence of what I'm trying to do in Discord, right? Which is we all scratch each other's back, and unfortunately not everybody gets that. There are some takers. So if you are going to join Discord, one thing I just will warn you, if you're the kind of person that only takes and you're rude about it, we will just get rid of you without even a warning. We'll just say like, oh, this person doesn't fit the MO for what we're about on the Discord. And that is one of the advantages we have for not charging for anything, is that we get to make it a peaceful, cool place where we don't really tolerate anybody spamming or using it as their journal or trying to promote their products or services or rude behavior. So anyway, if that's something that interests you, drop by. But anyway, he did earn it. 727. My kid has earned it. He's been a good boy. So Benjamin, it is time to go swimming. You want to get your new swim trunks? Okay, go get them. And I'm going to get my trunks too. I'll help you find them. Anyway, have a great weekend, folks.